If you work with any chemicals, you probably also use solvents on a regular basis. Solvents are substances used to dissolve other materials. They may be found in paint and paint thinners, household cleaners, dry cleaning chemicals, metal degreasers, and adhesives. Solvents may be found in almost any workplace, doing almost any job. In addition to dissolving other materials, they may be used in processing or even in medical applications. You may already know the names of some solvents: toluene, kerosene, benzene, carbon tetrachloride. But did you know that water is also a solvent? So are chloroform, turpentine, and wood alcohol. Because solvents can do so much, they can also be very dangerous. Solvents can dry out or dissolve your skin, leaving it open to infection. Solvent vapors can invade your body, causing short and long-term damage. Many solvents can also pose the danger of fire or explosion. That's why it's important for you to know the proper ways to store and handle solvents. A single leak or spill is all it takes to create a number of health and safety problems for you and your co-workers. It's also important to know which solvents you work with and the hazards they pose, so accidents can be handled quickly and safely. You can find this information in the Material Safety Data Sheets, or MSDSs, at your workplace, as well as on warning labels posted on the containers. This is especially important when you want to know the health risks posed by solvents. These health risks can cause acute or short-term problems, or they can induce chronic problems, which affect you for a much longer time, sometimes the rest of your life. Exposure to some kinds of solvents can even cause serious injury or death. If you've ever felt dizzy while working with paint or cleaners at home, you know one of the hazards of working with solvents. Many solvents are volatile, which means they evaporate quickly. The vapors can enter your body through your nose, your eyes, and even your skin. The short-term effects of solvents are usually the result of a spill, splash, or other concentrated exposure. These can include burning, watery eyes, nose and throat irritation, and skin irritation. When solvents enter your bloodstream, they can cause even greater problems. The solvent molecules can actually replace the oxygen carried to your brain and other organs. Results of short-term exposure can include dizziness, headaches, and nausea. These should serve as warning signs that vapors have reached dangerous levels in the work area. If you feel any of these symptoms, get to fresh air right away and seek medical attention immediately. Many times, these symptoms are mistaken for intoxication from alcohol or drugs. In fact, the effects are the same. In extreme cases, victims can stop breathing or go into a coma. Solvents can enter your bloodstream in two ways. If you inhale vapors, they can enter through your lungs and mucous membranes. Some solvents and their vapors can even pass through your skin and enter your bloodstream directly. Either way, you'll feel the effects as though you had inhaled the vapors. Once in your body, solvents can affect your brain, liver, and other vital organs. Some of the long-term effects can include permanent vision damage, liver and kidney disease, and nervous system problems. One of the most dangerous solvents is benzene. Prolonged exposure to benzene can result in certain types of anemia and leukemia, as well as changes in chromosome structures, causing other chronic health problems. Long-term exposure to solvents can also cause a skin disease called contact dermatitis. This is a painful condition marked by red, blistered skin. Contact dermatitis opens your skin to further damage from solvents, as well as exposure to bacteria. Again, check the MSDS for the acute and chronic health risks of the solvents you handle. Be aware of the warning signs of exposure and know how to treat them. To be safe, avoid direct contact with all solvents. Treat them all as potential health hazards. In addition to health hazards, solvents can also pose a fire hazard. Not all solvents are flammable. The MSDS will tell you which are flammable and which are not. It will also tell you the point at which each solvent will ignite. This is called its flash point. Many solvents have a flash point of less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That means they can ignite at near room temperature and must be stored and handled carefully. Other important factors to know when handling solvents are their boiling points and rates of evaporation. Flammable solvents that evaporate quickly at room temperature also pose the risk of explosion. When they evaporate, their vapors can saturate the surrounding air, and a fire can spread almost instantly. Fire prevention is a priority in any workplace, but around solvents, it should be a constant concern. Keep all heat sources, including direct sunlight, away from storage and work areas. Many times, heat can build up in a storage area without a direct source, so make sure it is well ventilated. Don't do welding or other hot work around solvents. Keep all smoking materials away from solvents. Store solvents away from oxidizers. These are materials that help fires burn. When combined with flammable solvents, a fire is hard to prevent. A solvent can be ignited by an electrical spark, a mechanical spark from metal-to-metal contact, or even by a spark from static electricity. When working with solvents, be sure the area is safe from sparks. Grounded floor mats, spark arresters for engines, and spark-proof tools should be available in your workplace. Use them as if your life depended upon them. It does. The best safeguard against explosion is to keep the room or work area well ventilated. Moving air will disperse any vapors that build up and reduce the risk of explosion. Again, the MSDS contains specific storage and handling information for each solvent you work with, as well as information on dealing with accidents and exposure. The best protection is prevention, so make sure you know how to handle accidents before they happen. In addition to the specific information given in the MSDS, there are some general rules to help you work with solvents more safely. Solvents are labeled according to their individual hazards. Make sure you know what you are dealing with by checking the label. Learn the labeling system used in your workplace and follow all precautions on the label. When storing or moving solvents, use only approved containers. Many solvents will dissolve plastic containers and must be stored in glass or metal. It doesn't take an accident for you to be exposed to solvents. Normal safe handling can still release enough vapors to injure or even kill over a long enough period. Protect yourself with the proper equipment. Personal protective equipment, also called PPE, is designed for the solvents you will be handling. The equipment may include safety glasses with side shields, respirators, gloves, aprons, and other items to protect you from solvent vapors and spills. It's important that each article of PPE fit properly. Solvent vapors that can pass through skin will have no trouble getting past a loose respirator mask. Make sure you're wearing the right PPE for the solvent you're working with. Gloves and aprons may be made of neoprene, rubber, or other materials, and not all materials protect against all solvents. Gloves designed for some solvents may be dissolved by others, leaving you unprotected. Even with personal protective equipment, remember to handle solvents safely and be prepared for accidents. Know beforehand where the nearest eye wash station is, and don't wear contact lenses around solvents. They can trap the harmful vapors against your eyes. Use the ventilation systems provided in your work area to keep vapors from reaching dangerous levels. If you have trouble breathing, if you feel dizzy or faint, or if you smell or taste an unusual amount of solvent, alert your supervisor or safety official immediately. Your PPE is designed to protect you against long-term and accidental exposure to solvents. It doesn't allow you to take risks with these dangerous materials. If you work directly with solvents, use the tools provided, such as tongs and dunk buckets for immersing parts. Wash your hands after each shift and before you eat or smoke. If an emergency does occur, your preparation will help you handle it quickly and safely. If you or a co-worker are splashed with a solvent, rinse the affected area with water immediately, and then seek medical attention right away. If solvent splashes in your eyes, go to an eye wash station and flush your eyes with water for 15 to 20 minutes. If your skin is splashed with a solvent, Go to a safety shower immediately. Flush the affected area, again for 15 to 20 minutes. In case of a spill or fire, do not attempt to handle it alone unless it is small and you have been properly trained. Evacuate the area and alert your supervisor. Do not re-enter the area unless you are authorized to do so. Your health and safety are important to you, your family, and your company. Learn how to work with solvents and how to handle accidents if they do occur. That way, you can help to keep your workplace safe and productive for many years.
The F-16 is one of the most maneuverable fighters ever built. Its single-engine design requires a backup electric and hydraulic power system. This emergency power unit, or EPU, uses hydrazine fuel to operate.
This program covers general hydrazine fuel awareness. You'll learn how to identify and report hydrazine spills. We'll also discuss hydrazine exposure and health effects. Warning: if you are not part of the emergency response team, do not attempt to clean up the hydrazine spill. Hydrazine is a clear, oily liquid. It looks like water and smells like ammonia. In fact, ammonia is one of the byproducts of decomposed hydrazine. If you smell ammonia coming from liquid hydrazine, then you may be exposed. Warning: H70 hydrazine is highly toxic and may cause severe injury. Always stand upwind of the EPU exhaust prior to engine run-up for EPU bleed mode check.
Hydrazine starts to decompose as soon as it's exposed to air. When it comes in contact with oxidizers such as dirt, rust, and most metal oxides, the decomposition speeds up.
This accelerated process generates heat. When the temperature exceeds 100 degrees Fahrenheit, hydrazine may become flammable.
If hydrazine comes in contact with liquid oxygen or nitric acid, it can become volatile.
Always store hydrazine and strong oxidizers well away from each other. Hydrazine is also very corrosive. It's capable of destroying materials as well as causing harm to the human body.
You may be exposed to hydrazine in one of three ways: inhalation, ingestion, or skin contact. Let's discuss the hydrazine reporting process.
If you smell ammonia, you're probably inhaling an unsafe level of hydrazine. Leave the area immediately and get to fresh air. Contact the person in charge of that area and describe what happened. Then seek proper medical attention. The Emergency Power Unit, EPU, is beneath Access Panel 3412. The hydrazine fuel tank is located under Access Panels 2408 and 3408. The tank holds 56 pounds of H70 hydrazine. The hydrazine detection pellet under panel 3208 should be a mustard yellow color. If there's a leak, the pellet turns a deep purple or black. You might find hydrazine leaking from one of the drain holes directly below the EPU and fuel storage tank, or from the additional drain hole by the center keel. If you notice a puddle under the drain holes, you may be in danger of being exposed. Leave the area immediately and contact a supervisor.
If you suspect a hydrazine leak in the hangar area or out at the aircraft, here's what you should do.
If the spill is inside the repair hangar, evacuate all personnel immediately. Then post guards to ensure no one enters and notify MOC or the fire department. If you suspect a hydrazine leak on the flight line, evacuate a 50-foot area upwind around the aircraft. Ensure no one enters the area and declare a ground emergency. Finally, notify the Maintenance Operations Control Center, or MOC. When you contact the Control Center, be prepared to give your name, location of the incident, the aircraft tail number, how many people were exposed, and their condition. If you can't reach MOC, call the fire department. Brief exposure to hydrazine can cause irritation to the skin, eyes, nose, and throat. If you or a coworker suffer hydrazine exposure to the skin, leave the contaminated area. Remove contaminated clothing. Flush contaminated skin and eyes with lots of water for at least 15 minutes.
Contaminated clothing should be stored in a container, like a garbage can, with a lid and labeled.
Place the container outside so the fumes won't affect anyone else. If you inhale hydrazine fumes, leave the area and get fresh air as soon as possible. People exposed by hydrazine should seek immediate medical care.
Hydrazine is an important part of the F-16. By following these procedures and precautions, you'll ensure the safety of yourself as well as your coworkers.